For years, the government of Mexico has intentionally dumped their raw sewage onto Southern California beaches and bays. The liberal media and California Democrat politicians haven't done anything about it. Coming up, President Trump swings into action. His plan for forcing Mexico to clean up its toxic sewage mess in Southern California. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator representing District 75 in the state assembly. District 75 includes a large portion of San Diego County. And I've witnessed firsthand an environmental disaster. And this disaster has been going on for literally decades, but the liberal media in California hasn't given it much coverage. And certainly Democrat politicians, they haven't been talking about it or taking action. How could it be that in California, which is a blue state and very pro-environment, I mean, everything we do out here is environment this, environment that, climate change this. But on this environmental disaster, the liberal media and the politicians of our state are saying virtually nothing? That's right. It involves Mexico's intentional dumping of raw sewage onto Southern California beaches and bays. Here's a breakdown of the problem real quick, because President Trump this week has announced that he's sick and tired of it and that he wants his various departments to start swinging into action and forcing Mexico to clean up the toxic mess. Mexico has been growing in the Baja region, Tijuana, and as more population moves in there, they've got more toilets, they've got more industrial plants, and all that wastewater, sewage from toilets and industrial plants needs to be cleaned and managed and processed. That's what a normal, civilized country would do, but not Mexico. No bueno. They don't have the dinero. They've decided we don't need to put money into a wastewater treatment plant. We're not going to have an investment in that infrastructure. Instead, if the sewage backs up and it overflows, well, it'll just be released into the Tijuana River Valley and it will flow out to the Pacific Ocean. And the reason why they don't care about that is that the Pacific Ocean tides take all of that sewage north. So literally, Mexico has pipes going into the Tijuana River, which is right there at the southern border between U.S. San Diego County and Mexico, Baja. All that sewage is now flowing north. So bad, it's so bad that in San Diego County, for half of the year, we have at least one of our beaches closed because of sewage spill from Mexico. We close a beach. Usually it's Imperial Beach. Sometimes it's Coronado Beach. A lot of times it's other beaches. That means that there's a risk to public health for swimming in the water. And there's now odors in the air. People can't breathe. It smells like sewage. You can literally smell it at the border on some days, posing all sorts of respiratory health hazards. So we have both an environmental calamity, a destruction of our watershed, and we've got a public health hazard. But Democrats, which usually fall all over themselves, oh my God, what can we do? What can we do? The sky is falling. We're going to die in 12 years because of climate change. They're doing absolutely nothing in California because on the sewage issue, what are they afraid of offending the Mexican government counterparts? Everything else they seem to do seems to be to bend over backwards to make sure that everything is hunky-dory, bueno, with our amigos to the south. And so for decades, this has gone on. And I've got to say, Republicans, most of them haven't been aware of it. They haven't done anything about it. But now the Trump administration is swinging into action. And I'm going to break down what I think needs to happen, because I actually don't think the Trump administration is moving quickly enough or boldly enough. And I think that, and look, complete disclosure, we are pushing hard in my office with Trump administration officials and the White House to educate them and to also urge them to take even bolder action. And I think it will happen because President Trump doesn't like it when another country takes advantage of America. And he's now coming up to speed on this, which is great. But I'm going to lay out an even bolder plan, which I think California Republican politicians at the State House, all the way down to local levels, they should all get behind. Here is a story of EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, Trump administration, top environmental guy, coming to San Diego. I want to play it, and then I'll tell you why it doesn't go far enough.
On center.
Yeah, so EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin was in San Diego at the U.S.-Mexico border, vowing to stop the decades-long sewage crisis. Newsmax correspondent Heather Myers was with Zeldin at the border to hear the plan. Take a look.
This has been an issue that has plagued San Diego for decades and decades. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin says enough is enough. He was in San Diego County to tour the Tijuana River Valley and see it for himself.
I am not going to stand before you right now and sugarcoat that smell and tell you that the situation as it relates to public health and the environment, which is the core mission of EPA, that this is a situation that can be tolerated. This is a situation that must be eliminated.
EPA Administrator.
Okay, so first and foremost, bravo for Zeldin coming down here. President Trump last week on Air Force One also raised the issue of Mexico dumping sewage and the environmental calamity and the public health hazards and says it's not acceptable. But I've seen press conferences like this before over the last 40 years, particularly over the last 10 years. Government officials coming and making statements, usually not as high ranking as Zeldin, which is, again, I appreciate the fact that he's here. It's very important. It provides visibility to the issue. But I want results. So do the people who live down in South Bay in San Diego County. They want results. This is unacceptable. I mean, the fact that the Democrats in California haven't declared a state emergency. I've asked the Governor Gavin Newsom, I've said, Governor, you've been declaring emergencies all the time for all sorts of things. You declare emergency for, the defense of personal pronouns, but you can't declare an emergency for the environment and public health because Mexico has dumped sewage. I mean, just shows just what a damn hypocrite the guy is, a complete phony. So press conferences, I appreciate, but it's not enough, not enough. I'm listening to whether they have details, sanctions, whether there's real pain, consequence management for Mexico for continuing this nonsense.
Administrator Lee Zeldin held a news conference in San Diego after touring the wastewater treatment plant and the Tijuana River Valley pollution. Just over the past 5 years, the International Boundary and Water Commission says over 100 billion gallons of raw sewage has flowed from Tijuana into the river and right out to the Pacific Ocean.
It's 150 billion gallons of raw sewage since 2018. 150 billion gallons of raw sewage since 2018. Just think about that. If that's not an global environmental crisis, I don't know what is. But no Governor Gavin Newsom showboating down there can't offend his Mexican counterparts. Oh, no.
This includes fecal matter, trash, and environmental waste. This has not only sickened residents, swimmers, and surfers, as well as marine life, but also decimated the economy in this part of San Diego County. In addition, this is where Navy SEALs train in the water, and there have been numerous reports of Navy SEALs getting everything from severe stomach viruses to skin rashes, hepatitis, and even cancer. Zeldin maintains that his counterpart in Mexico and the Mexican president are now willing to do something about this. First, he wants U.S. officials to be able to inspect the Mexican sewage treatment plant.
I'm not buying it. I've heard Mexican government officials pay lip service and the other end of the tailpipe for them on this issue for years. Oh, they're willing to do something about it. Yeah, okay, I've heard that one before. Checks in the mail, huh?
It's on their side of the border. He also wants Mexico to commit $88 million remaining from the promise they made back in 2022. The U.S. federal government has spent $653 million in recent years. Zeldin says there is a long list of infrastructure upgrades.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just stop it right there. This is insane. You, the federal taxpayer, Americans have paid over $650 million for this problem in the last several years. Mexico won't even give $88 million. This is their sewage water, not ours. You know that when you pay your water bill, there's a sewage fee on that water bill. So you have to pay for your flushing of your toilet. But no, not Mexico. Mexico wants us to pay for their sewage water, and we're doing it. Now, people will say, well, because it impacts our side of the border. It's their sewage water, for the love of God. Do you see the inequity here, the unfairness here? We're putting up almost, $750 million. Mexico doesn't want to do its part. Oh, and it gets worse. I'll tell you why and what my plan is to put the screws to the Mexican government. No more. No fiesta anymore. We are getting serious about this.
That need to be addressed immediately.
Mexico needs to fulfill its part in cleaning up the contamination that they caused, their people caused. They cannot view this as a U.S. problem just because their contamination reached U.S. soil.
I asked Administrator Zeldin if he believes the roundtable discussions that he took part in while here in San Diego will speed up the timeline on any of these projects. He did not give me a specific answer on the timeline to get all of this done, but he did say that those discussions were productive and at least one timeline will now move ahead more than a year ahead of schedule. Reporting in San Diego, I'm Heather Myers. Now back to you.
Okay, so that's the visit. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm thrilled that he's here, but it's still not enough. Let me give you some facts. 150 billion gallons of untreated sewage from Mexico since 2018. But do you know that under an international treaty, the 1944 U.S.-Mexico Water Treaty, it established the International Boundary and Water Commission, the IBWC, to make sure that water and wastewater would be properly managed. We have treaty obligations. Mexico has treaty obligations. Under that treaty, they were supposed to treat their wastewater and not allow it to spill onto our beaches and bays. They haven't done that. They have failed in their treaty obligations. Under the treaty, we were going to send them 488 billion gallons of water, fresh water, every year. We have held up our treaty obligations every year. We send them 488 billion gallons of fresh water every year. And what do they do in return? They send us billions of gallons of their crap water back. Do you see something here? They're not keeping their treaty obligations, but we are. So here's my plan. Number 1, build a toilet bowl. Number 2, make Mexico pay for it. Number 3, sanction Mexico for every day that they don't pay for their toilet bowl. Now, the reason why I'm saying that we have got to build the toilet bowl is that if we tell them they've got to build their wastewater treatment plant, it'll never get done. I think we ought to have the Army Corps of Engineers and the federal government come in and just build a massive wastewater treatment system. Probably is going to cost $1 billion, $1.5 billion. We're already putting a bunch of money in, dribs and drabs. Let's just get the damn thing done. Oh, but then send the invoice to Mexico. So here's your invoice. We're sending it to you. And here's what we're going to do. As we're building that Mexico wastewater treatment plant, because it'll probably take 6, 9, 12 months to build, for every day that your sewage water lands on our beaches and bays and closes one of our beaches and bays, we're going to shut the border and close the border. Your people can't come across the United States because we wouldn't want them to be exposed to sewage. You get my point? We wouldn't want people from your side of the border where the sewage doesn't contaminate coming to our side of the border where your sewage is contaminating because they may get sick. We already have enough Americans getting sick over here. We wouldn't want you to join us in that misery. So we're going to shut the border today because the sewage came out and it spilled onto the Tijuana River estuary and into our beaches and bays. We wouldn't want you to get sick now. So sorry, today you can't come to our side of the border and get jobs. No dinero. That's consequence management. Also, because you're not able to handle fresh water under the treaty by treating it to make sure it doesn't become wastewater and spill out, we're going to have to cut the supply of fresh water we're sending you. Because, come on, we wouldn't want you to have too much fresh water because you can't keep up with dealing with your wastewater. You see where we're going with this? Sanctions, consequences, penalties. Enough of this BS. They have taken advantage of America. They have impacted our environment and our health. We're talking about Navy SEALs getting sick, Border Patrol agents getting sick, citizens in South San Diego County getting sick. The Centers for Disease Control put out a report last year on the impact of airborne pathogens and toxic gases in southern San Diego County, particularly in the areas of Imperial Beach, Chula Vista, Nestor, San Isidro. What is the local Democrat authorities? What do? They say, well, we're not going to do anything about Mexico's sewage. We're just going to buy, at the expense of taxpayers, 10,000 air purifiers and have them on hand in case people would like them. Can't do anything about the sewage, the fact that your kids are getting sick, that surfers are getting sick, Navy SEALs are getting sick, but by golly, we have used taxpayer money to buy air purifiers. Maybe this will help you. No, just masks the scent, doesn't do anything to help. Let's fix this problem. I'm glad that Trump has been talking about it. I'm glad that Zeldin has come to talk about it in Southern California. I think Secretary of State Rubio will also be swinging into action, but it's time for sanctions. Build the toilet bowl, like build the wall, build the toilet bowl, make Mexico pay for it, and sanction Mexico by not giving them the water deliveries and not letting them cross the border until they pay and get the situation under control. I think this is a very Trumpian plan. I'll continue to push to get this adopted, but we need your help at Reform California to continue to expose. It's not like the Democrats have brought this news story to you or the liberal media. We need to expose this environmental calamity and get Republicans talking about this. Go to reformcalifornia.org. Chip in a contribution to support our work. Also, sign up at the bottom of that website, first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code, so you're tethered into our growing movement to take back our state. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.